Hey, Carmen. So here is Desire to Learn. Here's kind of the front page that you will see when you go in there. And I'm sure you've gotten Carrie's email by now letting you know that you might not be able to see Lesson 01, and I'll show you in a minute why. So anyways, here's the front part. Here's the news. The news is like our announcements. And really, if you look through it, I will hide some things that I think no longer are relevant. So right here, I only have 2 because I want to kind of keep it clean, so to speak. So to see all the news that I've done so far, you're going to go up to news and click on it. So once in here, you can scroll down. Of course, it starts with the most recent, and then you can scroll down to look at all the different things that I have done so far. So anyways, going back up here and we'll go like kind of to the front page again. So looking at my class itself, how to go in and look at that, you're going to actually go into content. And once in content, it's very interesting. So this is what you're not going to see. You're actually not going to see Lesson 01. For some reason, we can't get that off, for us able to see it. Even me, when I go into so I'll show you right now. So like, for example, I'm in Angeline's course right now, and I'm going to go hit content. And as you can see, I can't see Lesson 01. What's interesting is, as part of the requirement for this course, so up in the introduction, part of the requirement for moving on to see Lesson 01 is that you need to look at the Desire to Learn tutorials. So we have these 4 tutorials here, and to get the students obviously to look at it to help them navigate. And then also too, the other thing that they must complete, so when you go further down, is this pretest. Once you do those things, you can then move on and see Lesson 01. So for whatever reason right now, we can't. So that's just something to make you aware of. In case, you go in and you're a little confused. So here we have the course. Now the overview is, the equivalent to the instructor profile. So here's my profile. I don't know why it's called overview, so it is. I'm just accepting things the way it is, and I don't know really explanations yet. But anyway, so that's my profile. And then really bookmarks and upcoming events and table of contents and course notes are really, nothing too relevant. The first thing is obviously the introduction. And as you'll see here are my notes from instructor, it's going to be same in every lesson. And I know I've told you that. So what I do try to do now is I try to change this picture. So you see this, come and see Lesson 03. Well, this isn't what it looked like in the introduction. So that's kind of a way that I'm trying to get them to think it's a new thing. So they'll come in and look. So for example, Lesson 01, you'll see the same thing. Lesson 02, obviously that. Right now we're in Lesson 03. So why don't we just go ahead and look in Lesson 03. And so we see this discussion board, and you'll see that I have 3 threads. So the idea is that each lesson has its own thread. I guess I could make more if I really wanted to, but this is to kind of keep it concise. And if I needed to make more, I probably would put it in the news section instead of here. So I really try to clean this up. In the beginning, the introduction week, we were all confused as to what to do on certain things. So I had actually a lot of students post questions in here, which was fine and it was good. And I answered the questions. But after the week went by and that died down, I deleted all of those threads so that you could just see this. So, here's where you can go in and look at my, notes from instructor. So if you just hit on like one of them, that's kind of what you'll see. All right. So let's go back to content. And just to kind of make you aware of something, I think is pretty cool. But just so that when you look at this, you kind of understand the setup a little bit. So here it says 10 of 10 topics. And each of these little things are called topics. Some are assignments and some are readings. So here off to the side, I can manually check mark that off. So all of a sudden that, gives me 1 of 10 topics complete. I'm going to go ahead and check these things off as well. And you see it's ticking down, 5 of 10 complete. So what you'll see is the ones that you can manually check off are things that the students need to read. And also instructions for the assignments. Now, the other ones that have a due date. So right here, this is known as a Dropbox submission. So here it has a due date. That's something that they're actually going to have to submit. And once you've submitted it, it checks it off. And so I'm going to go back to lesson 03, and I have 7 of 10 topics complete. If you scroll down with this submission, it kind of checks it off like for you. So that's kind of how you can see how many assignments that we have. I tell you this because when you go to look at grades, it's not what you're used to in iLearn with Gradebook. So there's 2 ways to look at it. I'm going to show you both, and I'm going to tell you which one I think might be the easiest. The first one's obvious, grades. So you go into grades. And the hard part is it's one huge long list of stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to limit the actions to hopefully just show you what is up to date so far, so that you don't have to see everything, or you know what's relevant to look at. Well, let me show you why I'm doing that first. So this is the way it's kind of set up. The gradebook is set up it's grouped according to topic, okay? Not according to your lesson. So for example, my gathering activity, lesson 3 gathering, lesson 4 gathering, lesson 5, lesson 6. So everything that I need to grade in lesson 3, I'll have to look at here to grade, then scroll down to find the next one to grade. So you kind of keep going. You see what I'm saying here? So that's why I want to limit the view. And you know what? On your side, I'm not sure if it will come up as limiting the view or if you need to do it. Okay, so what I'm going to try to do is always kind of keep it relevant to what has happened so far. So that it's not opened up to everything, and everything that you will see are things that have been graded or obviously should be graded because I am behind. So anyways, if you come in and look at this, you'll see that, for example, these have not been given grades. We'll just do this one because these have been given grades, or I'll click on this one because I believe I gave feedback for this one. So you click on this, and it pops up, and here is like my feedback, and here are the postings that were given. And so that's kind of one way to look at, what I have done. And you'll have to, this is the other thing, you're going to kind of have to scroll through all of them. So for example, you're going to have to then go on to the next page, 2 of 3. I do think that you probably could ask for like all of them to be on the same page. I don't see that here, but anyway, so these aren't all of my students. You'll have to go to the next page for that. So that's one way to look at it. Now, the other way to look at it, which might be easier, just depends on what you think, is to edit course. So you click on edit course, and really the main things there, we have quizzes, Dropbox, and discussions. So let's just go to Dropbox. So you click on the Dropbox, and you can see out to the side by the numbers that those assignments have been done. Whether they've been graded is another thing, but they've been done. So for example, let's go ahead and look at lesson 01 journal activity. So you're going to scroll down when you see this, and you'll see that here this has been graded. This can tell you it's been graded. These obviously have been submitted. These have been read. This has not been read yet. I'm sure you can tell that by these things up here. But anyways, that's how you can tell what has been graded and what hasn't in this view. But this might make it easier for you to go through and look at everything and click on it to see if there's been feedback or not. So that's kind of, another way to kind of go about doing that. So for example, with this one, let's look on this one. I think you can hit it anywhere. So we'll look at published, and you'll see here's my submission or feedback that I've given with this one. So I'm going to go ahead and go back there because, yeah. So that's kind of briefly our course. I hope this has helped. If you have any questions, please let me know and I'd be happy to help. Thanks.